Welcome back for another week at Hit the Gap podcast. How has the last fortnight of footy been for you, Mitchie?
Tell you what, competition already tightening up a little bit. It's already getting a little bit unpredictable, which is, look, if you're a footy fan of all teams and just football in general, that's good news. We're in for a good year, especially to have that happen this early on. Who would have predicted Panthers to have minimal wins going to week 6 now? So
4 straight losses. Only one I think was round 1, and then on the other end of the coin is the Bulldogs being at the top of the ladder with I think 4 straight wins. Is it?
Yeah.
Or no, they might even be undefeated. I'm not too sure. And they go into the bye this week, I'm pretty sure. So 5-6 rounds undefeated is pretty impressive, especially for the Bulldogs of all teams as well. We'll have a quick look at round 4. We'll jump back to not last round, but the round before, and have a look at some results there. The Thursday game being Rabbitohs and Panthers, and talking about the Panthers and not expecting results that have turned around. We've got Rabbitohs Panthers 28 to the Rabbitohs Panthers 18. Very interesting game, that one. I thought, obviously Cleary out with that head knock, but considering how they went the week before, where Cleary was out, I think mid-game or earlier in the game sort of thing, they seemed to string it together against Melbourne pretty well and hold their own. This one, I don't know, Rabbitohs just seemed to have their measure for most of the game, really. Yeah,
and this is before they even had any of the big stars back, so this is...
yeah, true.
Yeah. I think Wayne really had his number. That's all. They just really had their number, and they just dominated them. Honestly, they dominated them more in the middle than anything, and that was what really shocked me.
Yeah.
Panthers sort of known for their sort of their really tight midsection. Between Yo and Leota and even Kenny to some extent. They got and obviously Martin as well.
Yeah.
They've got such good enforcers in that middle. To see Penrith being dominated so heavily in the middle like that, great for Rabbits.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Also shaky for Penrith, man. Really shaky.
Yep, I think. Yeah, you're right. I think, oddly enough, Jack Cole, who I called Cogger I think last episode actually by mistake, but Jack Cole had a really good game considering. But yeah,
trying to pick up the pieces. Though.
Yeah, the middles. You're right. The middles sort of just couldn't get together. You saw like Martin getting very frustrated at times too. But
even Yo,
yeah,
even we'll get onto this next week. But even Yo was this prior week getting a bit flustered. So I think Rabbits just have a very hard to handle forward pack, especially between you got Mawali, you've got Kepi. You've got Mama Zealous is having a stellar year so far.
Yeah.
He's really putting those bunnies on his back.
Yep. He's there taking over the hooking duties from Cookie quite well and made it his own spot. So
I feel like Cook's really passed down a lot of that sort of talent onto him too, to be honest. He's definitely been paying attention because he's quick out of dummy half, man.
Yeah, he's definitely, 100%.
I think he even got himself one in this game, did he not?
One, if not two. He might have got a double. We'll have a quick look before we move on, but he did... Not that one.
No, it was the one before.
No,
that's right. Before. No, he got he gave that one to Mawali, though.
Yeah,
he
right
got that one.
6.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so Panthers in a little... patch of bad form at the moment, rare patch of bad form, you would say, with Rabbitohs.
This was also the first game this season as well where I've thought Kaloa Matangi has actually had a proper go, and boy did he have a go.
Yeah, definitely.
He got the double.
Being on an edge, he's sort of even like talking about something completely different, but NRL fantasy, like you see his stats don't sort of reflect his game in that when he plays in the edge, which is unfortunate. It's more when he's in that lock or middle role, which unfortunately at the moment seems to be getting taken up by Lachlan Hubner, or it'll be Arrow if Arrow's fit and healthy. But solid game, that one definitely. We'll move on to the Friday games, Roosters versus the Titans. This is another one, probably didn't see such a result, but Titans 32, the Roosters 12.
I don't think anyone predicted this one. But oh man, this is, and I think this will go into this next week as well, really. But man, the Roosters. Teddy is on the field doing the absolute most, both weeks as well. He's tried his absolute guts out, but it feels like there's a lot of mistakes around him.
Yeah. Yep.
Particularly of someone who we are usually pretty critical of in another podcast. It feels good.
Halfback supposedly or supposing to be the leading the team in that, but not always coming through, unfortunately.
Freedom feels good, man. Freedom feels good.
Very good game. Stellar game from Campbell and Brimson. Very good halves pairing, I think. They've definitely, I think they've definitely found, or they're confident. Des is confident with his halves pairing he's got at the moment with those two, and it's turning up results, or it has been turning up results, as well as having Kinney at the back, who, unfortunately, I think it was either this game or the game before.
Was the game,
yeah. He got that neck injury, which is pretty well ruled him out for the year, from what we've heard. Unlikely
I've got to say, for me, the big one for this is Tino. This was Tino's first game back, I believe.
Yep.
And man, he really changed the dynamic of the game. Like, holy shit, he came in, and as soon as he was on the field, his presence was well and truly felt.
Yep.
He dominated the middle, and he even scored himself one towards the end of the game too, I believe. So he was a force. This was his second game, actually. The one before, it was his first game, but he came on this game and he absolutely just hammered them. Like, he was forcing so many people in the middle. He was forcing so many people to try and carry him, 4 and 5 people usually, and he still scored off his own back. So, like, he's really, really taken the captaincy and the senior role of the he's
continuing to step up as a leader. Yeah, exactly right.
He gives me Preston Campbell vibes in the loyalty sense, obviously two polar opposite spectrums in terms of little bloke versus big bloke, but he's truly got he's a bleeding Titan,
all in on the Titans. Yep,
and that's footy. That's good stuff.
Yep. Another good win by the Titans there, and Roosters still, unfortunately, in that wavy patch of form. We've sort of come to accept that that's probably what we're going to see most of the year, unfortunately, for them at this stage.
Well, normally we accept that it's this first few, like the first, sort of 6 to 8 weeks for the Roosters. They don't really do much, but I'm a bit scared for the rest of the year, to be honest.
It's looking rough so
It's looking
far,
rough.
Definitely. The second Friday game was Dolphins and Broncos, Battle of Brisbane. Now, this one shaped up to be a stellar game, and it ended up being that, only 8 points the difference. Considering, Dolphins, again, I think they hadn't even gotten a win up until this point. I think they defended pretty well, and they sort of kept the Broncos out. A bit like Cowboys-Broncos the week before. It was a little bit of a grudge match. There wasn't much going on.
But I think this game was really the turning point for them. I think this was this was the first game where I've sort of seen the Dolphins go, okay, we can actually pull our socks up and play some good footy.
Yep.
And yeah, they still lost, but they really, really made a team like the Broncos shake, Like, they really made a team like the Broncos shake and struggle. So I think that's impressive.
Yeah,
it's impressive
considering for how they
and it's Suncorp.
Yeah, considering for how they'd started the season anyway, or they're still chasing that win. They've been improving near on week in, week out. They just it was just a little bit too hard for him. I think Walsh sort of had a pretty quiet game again by his standard, which he
just made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah,
he was trying a little too hard.
Yeah, I think, the couple of weeks before, he'd been definitely error-riddled. I think this was where he's sort of drawn his game back a bit, or maybe Madge during the weeks told him, don't worry about doing the flashy stuff, just get everything else right. Yeah, get everything else right first, and then you can get back into that. Which, I mean, you've also got Hunt in the side now as well. You don't have the same sort of spine setup, which was probably allowing him to sort of be a bit more creative in that sense. But yeah, definitely a good win by the Broncos. Another one on the board for them.
I also do want to mention Max Plath. Man, he is like father, like son. Quite frankly, he has really, really come into his own in this town. I'm looking forward to see him get better and better.
Very handy utility for him as well. I mean, he can slot into hooker, he can play in the middle, he can play lock, he can play on the edge, which we've seen him sort of shift this year. A couple times. Gilbert in that one as well, I think worth mentioning. Did he cop a 2-week ban for a tackle in that game there? So captain without their captain, or their named captain for the start of the year, for round just being in one more round at least. But improvement from the Dolphins for sure. Saturday's games, we had Dragons versus Storm. Now, this is another one I don't think anyone saw the results being. Didn't get to see it because I was working, but by all reports, it absolutely pissed down, rained insanely, and that sort of played into the Dragons' hands in terms of Melbourne just not being on point with ball control. And
Melbourne in general don't really have a good record against the Dragons, especially at Jubilee.
Yeah.
But they definitely can't play very well in the rain.
Yeah, yep.
It was atrocious football.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, it was atrocious football.
Yep, hard to watch.
It was a hard watching both
Especially
teams in this
Melbourne.
one, but Dragons definitely had the upper hand in the rain, so good on them.
Yep. Yeah, something for Melbourne standard you don't see very often, and then usually when you do or see close to, you see a resounding fight back the following week, which we'll get onto soon. But it was a good win by the Dragons, taking their opportunities. And they're one where they have been nearly there, if not right in the game for the first few rounds. They just haven't been able to clinch the win at times.
Yeah, and this was also the first round I've really seen Val try and actually make a solid push for points and stuff like that too. So
definitely.
And I think that carried over this week too, for what it's worth. So, good on him on that one.
Yep, definitely, as opposed to just being on the assist, having a bit more input himself.
Yeah.
The second Saturday game, Cowboys versus the Raiders up here in Townsville. Now that one, that one was quite a battle as well from all reports. Again, didn't get to see it, saw a bit of the replay because I was at work, but bit of a battle, bit of a slog up in the heat. I hear.
Mm-hmm. Felt amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm. Oh boy, oh boy! This was the one. This was the real turning point. I think this one here felt better than anything. We knew that the Raiders were coming up here and they were going to struggle. They always do. They always struggle up here. It is what it is. But this is definitely what we needed from the encouragement point of view. Pretty much it went exactly as planned as well, The Cows used everything at their disposal. They didn't just keep it on one edge. They kept it. They were playing, working on both. Both wingers scored. Tommy scored. But the surprising one, I think, for everyone was Cliffo with a double.
Going himself in
actually
short,
running. He was running hard. And I think that is the most threatening thing a 7 can do. Is show them that it's not just about the 6 with their running game. There's that the 7 can do it too.
Yep.
And it was potent. He was making damn sure that these big forwards on Raiders, and they have, without a doubt, the biggest forward pack of the league for sure.
Mm-hmm.
He was making damn sure they were working hard, and he outworked them.
Yep.
So
Keeping them second guessing in that.
He kept them very honest.
Definitely in a short space of time or short period of time from what I saw of the replays and that on the
back-to-back sets.
He
back-to-back sets. He punished them
himself, and then Raiders did have some good moments too. They definitely, I think they had some good set plays in that there, but it just a little bit error filled. Ricky wouldn't have been happy with that, but a little bit error filled, which I think probably gave us a bit more of the advantage as well.
I mean, my mindset going into this game was that they were going to have forwards that were going to go through.
Yeah.
It's you can't not have, I want you to pull, you can pull it up. I guarantee pretty much every time you pull up a Raiders game, there will always be some sort of a forward or middle sort of bloke coming through, middle edge going through, because their forward pack is just so big compared to everyone else in the league.
Yep.
They have the biggest team by far, like literal size as well as actual physicality. I think that they are definitely the biggest team.
Yep.
But it's a little different when you come to Townsville.
Yeah.
So
big boys start to sweat a bit. And
they sweat a bit harder.
Yeah, that's it.
They ain't had that hill conditioning like us.
Yep. Good win by the Cowboys. First one for the season. Getting off the bottom of the ladder and putting one on the win schedule finally. Last game on the Saturday, Sharks versus Bulldogs. Now this one was speaking about the Bulldogs before and their turn of form. really showed their domination. Game without Matt Burton for starters. I think Matt Burton went down. And did he go down in this one? Or
this was when he went down in,
Yeah. So got injured in this game. So not without, I shouldn't say without Burton, but...
They also, who did the Sharks lose in this one? Sharks lost a bunch of people. They lost Iro.
Yep.
He scored and they lost him.
Iro and I think Talakai as well around the same time.
Talakai,
so they forced a bit of a shift in there through their systems out a bit, but still, I mean, having people like Atkinson and whatnot there on the bench, you would think they'd
could
be
at least,
relatively well equipped. But just... Sharks are, again, been one I'm just not too sure on since the start of the year. They had that really good round one. Only just missed out to the Panthers, unfortunately. But, I don't know. They just can't seem to clinch it. Can't really put your faith in them at times.
They've got this team that is just so dynamic and so well-rounded, but they just... I don't know. They show moments of just... insane brilliance, and we'll get to that by the end of the potty for sure, because I got some stuff to talk about for sure about those Sharks, but they're just, and part of me is just wants to say, if Cale Iro is off the field, then they will not win. I feel like he draws way too much attention. He takes the focus off so many people, but even with all that focus on him, he still makes them pay.
Yeah.
If he's not on that field, then it's instantly a very, very tough time for the Sharks.
Yep.
And that comes into this week here where they struggled again without him. So.
Yep. Good win by the Bulldogs though as well. Preston Xerri going over for a double and Crichton getting a try. So
you really saw how bad they went in the middle after they started losing some of their
defense. Just sort of dropped
fellas. Off
a bit. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, Xerri and Critter both made him pay big time.
Dangerous any given day, but most certainly taking advantage of that at that moment. Sunday's game: Sea Eagles versus Eels. Sea Eagles coming away 26 points to 12. Pretty decent considering. I mean, if you're an Eels fan, you're happy with some of the things you saw. Obviously, losing again, not a great result, but you've got to be happy with some of the signs of improvement in this game, be it a little bit of better defense in that. And
the first half was so bad.
Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah, rough to watch.
They just couldn't string anything together. I think there was one point there was like 60% completion by the end of the first half or something like that. It was very, very
tragic.
Below standard.
Yeah.
But the shining light for that team is seriously Izzy. Like he is a player and a half, and we'll get to that for the next week. But I think the Manly Sea Eagles here got out pretty lucky. Like I went into this game thinking, hey, maybe the Eels can actually turn this one on with the turbo. But after a first half like that, I was like, oh, maybe they're just free They just get through scot free because they don't have to risk turbo, and they just get away with it, really.
Yeah. They had some, I think for the Eels anyway, watching them, they had some decent moments, especially with that edge. He's playing on the edge. Katoga, I think his name is. There's a couple of people getting an opportunity at the moment that
Katoga,
we haven't really seen before, and they seem to be making the most of it. There's still some definite things to work out, like your Pensini and Fox combination and that. There was just some errors there where it was just stuff where I don't know whether they weren't on the same page or what. Lomax as well. Lomax taking things into his own hands a couple times there and nearly getting tries, coming off with a couple tries and stuff like that. But unfortunately, the rest of the team just not fully following through with it.
I mean, I'm not sold on Russell as a winger. I'm really not sold on Russell as a winger at all. I'm not sold on Zach as a centre. I feel like I've made that opinion very known, and I feel like even though Zach will belt it home until the cows come home, really, that he doesn't want to play wing, he should probably just accept that he's just a fucking better winger than a centre. I wish I could say it any other way, but unfortunately, he's just a natural born winger, and I hope that he eventually just fucking cops it sweet and moves. But Addo-Carr is fitting in very nicely, I will say. He's definitely fitting in very nicely.
Handy pickup.
Oh, massive.
Out on the wing for sure,
massive.
especially with Simonson still out and whatnot. I
think Yeah, I think the only thing that I'm really just not sold on is Penasini as a wing, as a center, and Zach as a center. They're the two that I'd move to wing, or at least maybe if you keep Penasini at center and put Zach on the wing and move Sean in. I don't know. I think Adokar, obviously you keep him at wing no matter what, but it's Zach that's got to be on the wing somewhere there. I think he's just a natural born winger. So
Pensini in centre, I think, still very potent in that, but
he needs someone a little bit more evasive on his outside. That's for sure.
Yeah, just
either he moves outside or Zach moves outside. I think is the issue there.
Yeah. I don't know whether they're going to sort of change up the whole system, because you've got having Adokar and Pensini on one side there. I think it's more they'd want to figure their combination out a bit, because I mean this week we'll talk about soon. This round, there was an improvement for sure, but
I feel like that was all off the back of Iyongi as well, more so than Penasini and Ado.
Yep.
But like Iyongi carved up this week, but we'll get there.
And the second, Seagulls coming out to win 26 points to 12 in that one. And the second last game of the round being Tigers versus Warriors. Another battle, very close, 2 points in it. Tigers 24 and Warriors 26. Came down to a penalty goal off of a relatively questionable penalty, in my opinion. But anyway, neither here nor there. Quite a good game to watch. I think definitely Tigers were very much in it. Considering Tigers were very much in it, I think.
I really erased this game out of my memory because of what happened in the last minute.
Yeah.
But I digress. Would you call it a good competition? Yeah, it was actually a bit of a good game to watch for the first probably 60 minutes or so. Then it started getting sloppy because they started getting desperate. And then the desperation really kicked in.
Errors and penalties.
Yeah.
We've seen some suspensions off the back of that game too from that. Yeah.
I hate this whole playing for the penalty thing.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think there's a single person who is a fan of rugby league who will back it. But unless you're maybe like an Eels fan or something like that.
Yeah, I do see a lot of the rhetoric of, they're just playing the rules and they're playing it perfectly. That's what's in front of them. But it's dog shit. End of the day, it's dog shit. I mean, even like avid Cowboy supporter, when I'd see people like, I remember perfectly that Tigers game, Felt took a dive, and I think that's the only reason we ended up winning was off a field goal, off that, or maybe it was that penalty goal or whatever. We ended up winning. Like, even that, it's dog shit. Like, it makes it shit to watch and makes it hard to cop. It's a pretty shitty win because it was not long before that. It was only a couple minutes before that in this Warriors game that he scored a really amazing runaway try.
Yeah.
That young centre or winger, he ran down the sideline, bumped off a couple people, and then went himself. So it was like an 80-metre run or something like that. I mean, that was amazing. And then CNK, as he does, takes a dive and, just holds his jaw, stays down and holds his jaw till he gets a penalty kick right in front. And that's all she wrote, really. That wasn't what ended the game, but that's what set it to tie it up and get it there. So yeah, pretty shit. It raises it, like you said, first 60 minutes probably a really good to watch, a good contest.
Really good contest, yeah.
Yeah, shit like that sort of sullies it a bit, and you can guarantee if it went the other way, the Wires fans would still be crying about it. So there's just a little bit of give and take. There,
I mean, it's not even really just like a Wires thing; it's an any team thing. Like, the opponent is always going to cry foul when that happens. I feel like if you are a true fan of football, though, you'd probably take the one-eyed stuff out of it and call it for what it is, But yeah, it's hopefully we don't see much more of that. I know we will, but hopefully we don't see much more of that. At least not things like resulting the game sort of thing, like actually mattering in the grand scheme.
Which brings us into round 5 just being this week, which was the start of, and mind you, they're not calling it a crackdown, but we see it every year. There is a crackdown on something specific, and this is it.
I reckon they just grab a little fucking hat, right? And they just put a bunch of things in a hat and they go...
Decide what. So this was because of all of the... like we said, we saw a few suspensions for contact to the head, I think, high shots, etc. This was a direct result of that. There was too much of it, in their opinion. So they came out and said before the round started, any directed forceful contact to the head will result in an immediate sin bin, which we did see a lot of this round, but what we also did see a lot of was not until 3 or 4 sets later, minutes later, where effectively anything could have happened, that those shots, I mean, didn't get pulled up. They only got pulled up by a video ref or something later on, and then people sent off, if sent off at all. So there were some where we saw very soft and average direction forceful contact call.
Mostly played dumb for as well.
Yeah, so very, very silly ones where someone's fallen into it and an arm smacked them on the head or whatever.
Oh.
And if that's what you're going to do, and they're going to send someone off, then okay, that's your standard. But that means from that point on, every single accidental shot or contact to the head from that point on has to result in the exact same thing, which it didn't. So the consistency, as classic NRL officiating standards, is dog shit. It doesn't exist at times, I should say. I know it sounds exactly like I'm fucking ripping out at the refs at the moment, but it's not just that. It's just bringing in something like that or cracking down on something, but not having the ability to judge correctly.
It just comes back to consistency, man.
It's
seriously.
You got to get that shit right before you start coming and cracking down on something, really. And no one would have an issue if it was just consistent. That's all. Yeah. Calling out later on. They're not letting it go. They are calling out later on, but it's like, what do you mean? Like 4 sets later, how is a referee who's right there looking at it, not seeing it, but then somehow the bunker 4 sets later is...
Yeah, that was inexcusable, really. That was in the Cows and Panthers game.
Wild. There was a couple of them, but that was a perfect example. That's right. Yo didn't sit down either, which was interesting because his shot that got called up... No, it was, sorry, I don't know whether he's got... Yeah, it did. He got put on report a few sets later.
2 sets later.
Yeah, he got put on report, but that was all. It was just put on report and possible penalty, I think.
No penalty.
Yeah, that's right. No penalty. Put on report.
Yeah. And then what was the one after that was like another set later that someone gets sent to the bin.
Yeah.
Like for something that happened 2 sets ago.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll see how long this schmozzle lasts. At least they're getting it out of the way early before Magic Round to ruin Magic Round again. Thursday night's game, Raiders versus Sharks. I only saw the very start and the very end of this one, but this one was another battle where we talk about the Sharks' form. You just don't know what you're going to get. This was one of them.
Probably... Actually, no, I don't think there was one game, I think, in the first round, maybe. But either way, one of the games of the season so far. Yeah, this was awesome.
Yeah.
This was awesome. It was a heavy contact game. Mm-hmm. A lot of feeling. Quite a lot of high skill stuff going on.
Yep. Very much try for try too.
It was very tit for tat. It was so tit for tat. It was awesome.
Yep.
This game, if you didn't watch it, go watch it. It was awesome. And if you like special tries, damn, this game had it. This game really had it.
Yep.
Hopefully we can. Hopefully we get a nice little thing at the end of the year or something like that with all the special tries of the year sort of thing. They usually do. Someone does something like that, I'm sure. But yeah, it was awesome. Really great game. This was a game where watching them without Kale Iro, look, Hiroti did a great job. He even scored one himself. Mm-hmm. But did he compare defensively to Kale Iro? No. No, unfortunately not. Iro was just not... The fact that he was missing just left such a defensive hole for them. It was really painful for him. Nikora still stood up on his side and made sure that his defense was fantastic. He really didn't let much go.
Bit of a return to form for Nikora has been relatively quiet.
Yeah, but he's had to stand up with that Iro there. So it's usually those two that stand up real hard and shine real hard for the defensive and attacking effort.
Yep.
Because they're a very center-driven team, but not quite enough to beat the mighty Raiders this time, especially not when they're playing like that. That was some stellar football, especially towards the end there.
Last try too, I think Seb Chris's try, something rabbit out of a hat sort of stuff.
Oh, special.
Pretty solid to pull that one off, I think. Yeah. So good win by the Raiders. Again, they've been in it and thereabouts, and good bounce back after a tough loss.
And I mean, we always
Week
find
prior.
ourselves talking about Simi Sasangi. We always find ourselves talking about Xavier Savage or Sebi Chris, KO Weeks, Magic from all those sort of players.
Yep.
But Simi Sasangi,
Doing well filling in, or he's trying to make that spot his own for sure.
But I mean, let's normalize forwards doing halfback stuff. That's hot. That's hot. Moving on.
Good win by the Raiders there for Thursday night.
Talk about that game all night. It's great.
Getting back to till this Thursday. Getting back to the rest of the round now. The Friday games, which was the Panthers versus Cowboys, the first game there. Panthers going down in their continued streak of losses and average form. Cowboys finally getting one over them, albeit still not a full-strength Panthers outfit, a near full strength. Cleary in the side and that. There were some big moments. And game was a battle. It was a definite battle. Cowboys just seemed to have, I don't know, there was something, they pulled something out of a hat, everything seemed to turn around, defensive resolve. There was still errors, which are of concern, but the defensive resolve and everything just seemed to, I don't know, do a complete 180 from
I would even argue that this game is a Panthers win if we have no Purdue.
There were
if
definitely,
Purdue was that try that he saved, was
Yep.
It was like Tommy level.
Yeah.
It was like Tommy level, man.
Yeah, there was standout star moments, definitely Purdue being one of them, yeah.
Not only a great attacking effort he made in this game, but his defensive effort just stellar. Kai O'Donnell really, really stepping up his defense as well. Again, we talk about how good his defense was the prior win. Moving up into this game, oh, man.
Keeping it running, yeah.
The defensive improvement from the Cowboys has really actually been probably the best part, I think.
Yeah.
Like we know that we can attack. We know we can attack.
Yep.
We have a great attacking side.
Yep.
Especially when Drinkwater actually wants to have a go.
Yep.
We have a great attacking side. We do. Defense has always been the thing we hop on. And I think this is probably one of those games we can sort of sit back and be proud of because we had a really, really great defensive effort from both sides.
Yeah.
From both sides of the field.
Yep.
We probably, I think the only thing that was a bit of a letdown was through the middle there with Garner when Garner got in. But but even still, we really tried pretty hard this game, and I think that's something to be proud of.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. Especially, and like we've seen, I think this is possibly the third week in a row we've had someone go to the bin for 10 minutes. And in that 10-minute period, just absolutely turned it up. Played probably better than we did prior, but they carried it on after we got Robson back. The form continued, which was very exciting to see. As we said, a bit of a 180 in terms of defense in that. And attack just a bit more clean. Purdue having some star moments, like you said, saving that Alamotti try, which is what the Panthers always seem to do in the dying moments. They seem to just pull a try, rub it out of a hat to either clinch it up or...
And that would have been try of the year if he got it.
Yeah, yep.
So, Purdue.
Yep. Yeah. Amazing save there, just sticking to the man and taking him into touch. Yeah, definitely some exciting stuff all around. Hess's hit on Cleary is probably one of the ones for the year, you'd say, because you don't often see it. It wasn't like it was a huge, amazing hit. It was a good tackle, perfect lined up tackle on that.
That's what happened after that.
Yeah, it was just he read it perfectly, timed it well, wasn't late or anything. And
he's been lifting weights and reading books, baby.
Yeah, that's
Big
right.
Hesse.
Yep, game knowledge on par.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, he just smacked him, hit him flush, and then put him on his back. And the attempted kick, the Cleary kick, which could have put us in danger, just went nowhere. So
it was the raw for me.
I think that's it. Dominance, complete
lead
dominance.
in pencil.
I think the whole NRL cheered, other than Panthers fans, the whole NRL cheered for that one. But yeah, still very close game either way. Only 4 points difference in that one. Cowboys just having just enough to keep him out, which is exciting. And Panthers still just a little bit wavy. He's hoping for them that getting Edwards back and To'o back in a few weeks later rather, should help them turn form around a little bit.
Honestly, I think the missing To'o isn't so bad. I feel obviously his presence is missed. It's Edwards for me that really hurts him. Not having Edwards is proving diabolical, quite frankly.
Someone with that ability. Yeah.
And I mean, no disrespect to him, but I feel like Dane probably isn't the right call. If it's honestly, I really think they should be moving Blaze in. I think they should be they should be blooding Blaze as much as they can, and maybe keep either Dane as your 18th man,
or even a 14. He historically plays 14 and does pretty well. I think Laurie's pretty handy utility and whatnot. But yeah,
I just don't think he has the size for a 14 on a consistent basis. That's the thing. But then on top of that, he's just a bit of a butterfingers, really. He really needs to work on his ball control. Yeah, I don't know. I think Blaze has way more potential. And I mean, we saw the impact he had at the Eels, and I think they did pretty well for themselves, lucking out and getting a Yongi. But Blaze. I think Blaze is the answer, not Dane. So obviously Edwards is really the answer, but I think when Edwards is out, and you have to remember that Edwards is getting on, I think Blaze is the long-term answer as opposed to Edwards, as opposed to Laurie.
Yep. And the next Friday game, the second Friday game being Rabbitohs versus Roosters, another big game, another close result, 20 points to 14 to the Rabbitohs. I mean, yeah, good win by the Rabbitohs, but even better when you consider all the injuries and everything they got mid-game. I mean, I think Humphreys, the halfback, only lasted a couple minutes, if that.
Yeah. There's a lot of shifting.
Yeah.
The Rabbits doing this to the Roosters, and we know that these two teams have quite the history in terms of inner Sydney battling.
Always
grudge
big
match.
games, regardless of either of their form. You could have one having great form, the other one being in horrible form, and they still
They just fight.
Yeah,
it's a fight.
Generally make a massive game of it. But another one right here. I mean, they lost Humphreys pretty much straight away. He's been one of the better halfbacks for the start of the season for sure. Along with Cody Walker, who I think might have been at halftime. Yeah, he just didn't come back.
Both hamstrings, actually.
Didn't come back from halftime. Yep.
They were both hamstring injuries, and we talk about Quad Daddy being Quad Daddy. Maybe Ham should be hamstring daddy.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
There was one more too, I think. Ravalawa.
Yeah,
Ravalawa as well with another hamstring injury.
Hamstring.
So that was three in one game. And obviously we saw Latrell. I think he jumped into 6. He took over Cody Walker's spot there. You had Jaden Sullivan, which is quite handy to have. So that's a handy utility to have there in 14. He's jumped into the 7, which we've seen him play before. We know he can do.
And I know that look, there's a lot of players who get a lot of communication and social talk around them about them, whatever they're doing, but honestly, Trell had a really good game.
Definitely.
Trell has come back and he has shown that he is absolutely still here to play football and take this focus off all the negative stuff on the background.
Yeah.
He is absolutely still a stellar football player, 100%. I think he is great on his versatility, which is great to see him move around like that. Especially some of that 4-man cutout.
Yeah. Oh. Yep. Straight out to the wing. Yeah.
Oh, that was good stuff. That was good stuff. But I think for me, watching just how well he played at center, even if it was only for a very small period of time at the start of that game, really still does solidify it for me that he is a natural born center and he should continue playing center, not go to fullback. I think they should focus on letting Jai Gray own fullback and him working on being a center and just staying as a center.
Yeah, definitely very handy there. We've seen it at Origin level. Not that we saw, like you said, a whole heap in this game, but seen it at Origin level, how well he can do it. And
he's so good at controlling that position.
Back in the old days, definitely at the Roosters there. Personally, I definitely don't see it happening full time.
Oh, absolutely. Neither do I, but I hope it does. I hope Wayne sees the light, that's all.
Outside of, maybe injury or something like that, I can't really see it happening because we know fullback.
What I hope is that Wayne sort of picks him up and says, "Hey, come on, man! I say what goes. And if Look, the way you play at center, you should play it. You should be a center. You really should. Like I said, I don't also see it.
Yeah.
I think he'll get put back in fullback. I just hope it doesn't.
Being flush for outside back centers and whatnot at that team as well, and not so much fullbacks, especially those of Latrell's caliber. Yeah, I have a feeling he probably will even see him play center for another couple of weeks. Well, maybe not now, unfortunately, with all their injuries and stuff, but you would have seen him maybe just ease himself back in, because that was the feeling it sort of had, was maybe it was just easing him back in for a couple of rounds to then have him take his fullback spot back. But while Jai Gray, exactly right, is doing a really good job yet again there. It's in safe hands and whatnot, but
I think he did say at the end of the game there in an interview that it was just precautionary. He was going off and he'd be back next week. I think Renault also said that too with his hamstring injury too.
Oh, he did. You're right. Yeah, go off at the end. I know what you're talking about. Yep. Yeah.
I think I will like to hope that Cody is back next week so we can get to see probably a better sample size of Trell at center. I would love to see that. But we'll have to see how that goes.
We'll have a look. We might have a look after this, actually, because I have a feeling there's a stat out for most of them. They're all hamstring injuries, but they're all at least three weeks or something like that minimum. But the
amount of hamstring injuries, it's like the new thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not really new. Last year was all lower leg stuff as well.
Yeah. Yep. At least it's only relatively short term, thankfully. We'll have a quick look after this, but yeah, good win from the Rabbitohs. Pretty gutsy win. Next Saturday games, I should say. The Eels versus the Dragons. Eels coming away with the win off a 1-point field goal by Lomax. This one went into golden points. So talking about battles, this was another one, and one for the Eels fans to finally celebrate. Like we said, we'd seen it sort of building. Last week was a bit of a turn from them. Eels fans would have had to have been happy with a certain few things, but this one was just so much better. They just stuck in. They hung on.
I think last week, Kautoga played a sensational game.
Yeah.
Didn't get the win.
Yep.
This week, he plays a sensational game. Mm-hmm. Not only does he get the win, but he gets a box of chockies as well.
Yeah, exactly right.
It's good. It's good stuff. Yeah, honestly, I don't like talking happy talk about the Eels, but this was a nice game to watch.
Yeah.
I think both Kautoga and I think Iongi were the reasons they won this game.
Yep.
I don't think it had anything really to do with Lomax, but it is poetic justice to see Lomax drive the dagger into the heart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, finally getting one back up on his old side there, and by 1 point nonetheless.
And we know that there isn't exactly the best of blood between him and Shane.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it anyway.
So I think it's kind of fitting, really. It's kind of nice.
Hopefully something that they can now just move on from and continue on, and hopefully the Eels fans continue that win streak. But yeah,
Addo-Carr dangerous in this game too.
Yeah, definite improvement on form. Still a few errors in that. I don't know about Brown, what's going on with Dylan Brown and whatnot. I mean, he doesn't have Moses there, and we don't know when Moses is coming back, but overall, definite improvement. Dragons as well, just sort of letting it slip, unfortunately. It could have been their game. Val having another good one, I think.
Yeah.
Ilias again as well. I think some of their middles and whatnot were doing well, but yeah, Eels just really stuck in on this one. And
honestly, I think the only reason that they lost this game was Ilias made one crucial mistake towards the end. That was it.
Gave that opportunity. Yep, that's right.
I think if he didn't do that, they probably win the game, in my opinion.
Yep.
But I think Gutho also really wanted to stick it to the Eels as well, and he did.
That's definitely worth mentioning. Another one with going over for
nearly
a double.
triple.
I think you're exactly right. So definitely showing both bit of shows of form from each of them with their old clubs, their ex-clubs. The next Saturday game, Titans versus the Dolphins. Dolphins finally getting a win, 36 points to 10. Very solid win too, mind you. I don't know. I don't really know what happened to the Titans in this one here. They just couldn't ever seem to get off the mark the whole time. It seemed very slow to me from what I saw. Again, we'd seen the Dolphins nearly getting there, improving every week. They're there or thereabouts, but this one they really just clinched it. Despite not having Gilbert there, their captain there, they did real well. Young Katoa's again just leading it, running the show.
I think for me, this one, which was really impressive. Again, I mean, I spoke about it from the last week's perspective as well, but Max Plath, man,
definitely.
Man, no, he's just everywhere. He's
Yep.
everywhere, and he just dictates the speed of things
Yep.
so well.
Yep.
I think the fact that they have these really you have so many teams that spend so much time sitting there watching JMK.
Yeah.
They're always like they're up close, they're up fast on JMK.
Yep.
But it's almost like they forget that they've got other players who are really good hookers in their team.
Yep.
And the fact that they mix it up a little bit to try and take people off, throw people off, is really smart from the Dolphins. Max Plath, he has this very, very unique role where he's on that edge. He's on that edge, but he sort of sneaks his way in and then takes everyone by surprise and fucking drives a dagger in. I just love watching him. I really do love watching him play football, man. It's so good.
Yep, definite. We've seen a few tries for the Dolphins off of the back of, or even solid runs off the back of quick play the balls by him. Like you said, he's just able to control the speed of it, and he has a good read. He's got that halfback background as well. So when you got someone like that playing at lock or in the middle for a period,
just
or
dangerous.
Even it's very
So dangerous.
very handy. Exactly right. Next game last game on the Saturday being the Broncos versus Tigers. Now, this one sort of went whereabouts we thought it would, considering all things considered, but I was honestly still relatively impressed by the Tigers, I think. Not having Luai, no Luai. I think they did real well considering. Broncos they sort of drove that dagger in at the end there. And
I think if anything, this shows that you really cannot take the Tigers. You can't go into a game against the Tigers and not take them seriously, because they will, even without Luai, they will punish you so hard, man. They will punish you.
Yep.
There were moments in this game where Broncos just sort of they said, we'll run these guys over. It's all good. And then they would just come out and just really, really make them pay.
Yep.
I think the main issue here was that they sort of just ran out of steam a little bit towards the end of the game there.
Yeah.
At the 50, 60 minute mark, they sort of just ran out of steam, and then the Broncos just let run a fuck.
Yeah,
it is
exactly.
what it is.
Over the top of them.
Yeah, it was after 50 minutes, 50 minutes, and then they just, And probably Suncorp crowd got to them a little bit too, maybe.
Possibly.
Understandably too. I mean, they are very, very, they're very loud there, very loud. So, they just let it get away from them a little bit. The Fayunu brothers, very, very very much so shining lights for that team too. I think they need to be watched as well, because they are very potent, especially when they're linking up. So
Yep, definitely. I think with this one as well too, just talking earlier about the Broncos, I think Walsh started to sort of come out a little bit in comparison to what we've seen. So still not as flashy as we used to. He has
still been making a lot of mistakes, so he made a lot of mistakes this game too. I think he just needs to focus up a little bit,
Yep. Definite improvement. That's what I was going to touch on. Definite improvement on his errors and stuff like that in comparison. I think it's whether it's again being Madge that's said whatever to him, or he's just personally in a bit of a bad patch of form at the moment. I think we're starting to see him roll it back and start to try and get a grip on things here. Probably did coincide as well, because it was more toward the end of the game. He started to get a bit more flashy and control things, do some kicks and stuff like that as well. May have coincided a bit with Reynolds going down and then Hunt going to halfback or whatever we had happen there. So possible that played into it as well. But
geez, it must be handy to have Reno and Hunt in the same team.
Yeah, the champagne halves. Yeah, definitely. Talking on that, we'll have a quick squiz in a minute, but Reynolds going off as well after a conversion with a bit of hamstring tightness, so just a precautionary thing, as he said, but something to keep an eye on. We've come to expect that with Reynolds these days at the Broncos there. So
play one game, off for 5.
Wrapping him in cotton wool, yeah. But good win by the Broncos nonetheless. Sunday's games, we'll have a quick look at Sea Eagles 24 to the Storms 48, Battle of Brookvale, which at the start shaped up to be the Storms' absolute domination, and then toward the end of the first half, looked like Seagulls were really in it. Like they were definitely going to start making it difficult for them. They really didn't want that first half to end. But
and speaking of play one game and off for 5,
yeah,
Turbo.
Tommy Turbo again. But lucky again, talking about having good utilities in that there, or good people there. Lehigh.
I mean, we touched on it. The last potty as well. You know, it's never so. Like it's not as dramatic as a loss as it normally was for the Manly Seagulls, because they've got Lehigh to slot back in, and he's a stellar fullback, man. He really 100%. Is. He's the future for sure.
Yep.
They really just did not like they made a really good case for themselves in that first half.
Especially toward the second half of the first half. Yeah, exactly
second
right.
half. Yeah. And then then they just sort of they did it to themselves again, where they just sort of go away and and. I mean, it is hard against the Storm when you've got such massive flair players, man. Like, they are hard to keep track of sometimes, and all it takes is just, you know, a lapse of like, you know, you clock off for 10 minutes and they put 20 on you.
Yeah,
like it's just that easy. It's just that easy for them.
Exactly what happened there. You're right. Yeah, they came back out in that start of that second half and did the exact same thing they did in the first, and just sort of held it down. It wasn't. Probably toward the end of the game, the Sea Eagles got a couple more points just to shore it up a tiny bit.
I mean, that space between 50 minutes and 60 minutes is literally 10 minutes. It's like a window of 10 minutes.
Yeah.
They put on, I think, like 24 points.
Exactly.
They didn't score again for like the last 20 minutes of the game. Like, it was just...
Looked a bit like park footy or under 12s versus a reserve grade side. Yeah.
It's like they figured out that the interchange bench was weak for another 10 minutes, and they were like, all right, we're just going to kill you now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was just
Storm doing Storm things and bouncing back from the disappointing loss the week before, as we know they can.
Yeah.
But yeah, good win from Melbourne there in that one. And last game of the round being Bulldogs versus the Knights, which, talking about Bulldogs, it's all Bulldogs in the NRL at the moment, sitting the top of the ladder. 20 points to 0 against the Knights here. The Knights just really couldn't get anything going. We saw the return of Bradman Best, which would have hoped would have bolstered them a little bit, but unfortunately not. It was very odd game for the first possibly 20 minutes. I think it was
only 40.
2 points to 0. I think it was the whole first half trialless. I think
trialless. Yeah,
it was. Yeah,
they came out and
only the second half they scored that first try.
The man who I spoke about last potty as well, Joshy Curran. He is just
putting it away.
Man, he is such a good player in this team, man. He's so good.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is that they've... Seraldo has really made this kid come out. And it's special.
We'd seen his form a couple years ago. I think it was actually that year the Warriors were doing really well at the Warriors. We'd seen what he could do, and then just sort of die off a bit with the rest of the team's form. And now that he's here at the Dogs, that's right. He seems to be year on year improving and becoming extremely, or he has been, just as Jacob Preston has been as well, extremely useful to that outside line on the edge there. I think... most impressive for me was, still without Burton, or playing without Burton in this one. Sexton and Hayward. I think it's Bailey Hayward's playing in 6 at the moment. So they're doing very well there, considering. I think Critter as well. He didn't come off, but he went down with a bit of an injury or a stinger or something, so he wasn't at 100% that whole game. But yeah, they just found a way. Once they sort of found a way to crack the Knights, they just punished them a bit that whole second half there. So
I think it was the defensive effort for me as well. I mean, we talk about how much Gould harps on about defense.
Yep.
And how much he talks on Twitter about how he's about the defensive teams and stuff like that, and how people don't work enough on it. And I think this is we know he's a strong force at the Bulldogs as well.
Yep.
This is a gold star example, really, a gold star example. He is really telling the truth when it comes to this. I mean, look, holding the Knights to 0 when they've got such flair players like Ponga, they've got Fletcher. That's impressive, man. That's like Best.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
Man, Marju.
Yep.
Although Marju's a bit off lately.
Yep.
But he's still got that flair, and he can jump so high, man. Any point he could have taken any of those balls.
We saw that they shut him down quite well after a few high balls as well. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so good defense from the Dogs, and that's right. That ability just to, when they had their opportunities, just get in and really drive in, really helped them. So Dogs sitting at the top of the table still, which Doggies fans will be happy for. As we always say, there will be no kebab shop in Belmore or out of Sydney safe, unfortunately. But
shout out Rusty.
Yeah, all out of celebration at least. We'll have a quick look at the injuries we're going to talk about. So Reynolds is a hamstring, obviously, returned TBC. So whether he just sits out a week or two just as a precautionary thing, we're not.
We'll have to wait and see on that, big right? Because I mean, he even said at the end of that game, you know, in the interview, he said, "No, he's completely fine. They'll go for scans, of course, just precautionary, but he's very likely to be back next week.
Yeah, exactly.
In some capacity.
Yep. So whether he will be fit, but they sit him down, or whether he does come back in, we don't know. But like we were talking about earlier, so handy having young Hunt there, Ben Hunt there to stay there if he wants to, or slot in if he needs to.
I mean, look, they've got the Roosters next week, right? So, this week, if you will.
Is there a need Is there a need to bring him back? Who knows?
Man, I think Moser comes back this week as well, right? So you could probably even argue you could maybe go.
Possibly, whether he does,
maybe move Moser into 6.
Yeah, possibly if he does.
Moser 6 and move Benny into 7.
And Smoothie, I think Smoothie's still floating around too. I'm pretty sure.
True.
Somewhere.
They're not bad on players. I think they're okay.
They're pretty.
They can afford to sit him out for this one, I reckon.
Yeah, exactly right. Pretty well off. We'll have a quick look when I can find it here. Here we are, Rabbitohs. So Cody Walker, Jamie Humphries, and Michaela Ravalawa. They must all be off for scans because their return date is not set at the moment.
I imagine we'll hear probably after tomorrow what's going to happen with those guys.
Team lists, etc., etc. But not looking good for the next couple of weeks anyway for the Rabbitohs, who just continue to suffer injuries. You know, you get Latrell back, and then you lose 3 or 4 more.
I mean, I think we played them this week, which is interesting. It's good. I mean, it's good for us. Although they do get Munro back this week, so I think that's the part that scares me.
Yep.
Mainly because he is such a
stellar finisher.
He is an incredible winger. He is absolutely the future of that team for sure.
Yep.
For the wing anyway.
Yep. What we'll do, seeing as we're talking about round 6, is have a quick look. We'll preview the games. So we've got Thursday's game, Dolphins versus Panthers, and this one pretty evenly matched, I would say, honestly. I think Edwards is set to return. Whether he does or not, we don't know. But I think this will be a close one, another close one. If the Cowboys are able to pull off the win they did, I don't think the Dolphins should have too much of a problem taking the fight to them as well. So this one is up at Suncorp, home game for the Dolphins.
Panthers are not very liked at Suncorp.
No, definitely not.
Not very liked. So this will be interesting to watch. I think they get Gilbert back for this one, right?
He's got one more week. One more week. Yep.
Could be interesting. If Edwards is back, I would say that they're in for a tough time, the Dolphins. I don't even know. I'm probably going to have to wait for team list to even pick on this one. I mean, I would like to tentatively have Dolphins because I believe that they can take it to them and really hurt these Panthers' egos even more.
Yep.
But Panthers being on this many losses, I have to believe if the moment they get Edwards back, they will want to come out and fight hard.
Yeah, the bounce back has to start some point.
It will have to start somewhere,
Yeah. Before it gets difficult, starts getting too far into the season. And
I must say that I will tentatively have Dragons.
Dolphins.
Sorry.
Yep.
So they're all red.
Yep.
I'll tentatively have Finns.
Yep.
But if Edwards is named tomorrow, because we do this potty on a Monday, if Edwards is named tomorrow, then I'll probably switch that to Panthers.
Yep. I'm thinking as well, as much as I want the Dolphins to win, I am thinking Panthers. This is probably going to be where they turn it around. And like I said, I think it will be a close game. But I think Panthers will probably be the one to come away with the win in this one. Just sort of clinch it, if anything. Friday's games, Dragons versus Titans. Look, I really think I'm going to go Dragons. It is in Wollongong. Titans are in good form, decent form, but I really think I'm going to go Dragons. I don't know. Last week sort of just put me off the Titans a little bit in terms of having faith in them. I don't know. Dragons being so close last week as well. I think they're going to be itching for a win, and they have been. Like I said, they have been all season. They've been there or thereabouts and just losing out. So Yeah, I think they'll probably be able to get it done in this one on Friday.
I am going to go the Titans on this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think Desi's probably ripped a few doors off the handles after this week.
Oh yes, more than a few.
I think there was just way too many lapses in what we've seen from them from the majority of this season so far. I think that they will come out firing. I think they'll come out firing, and I think that even though the Dragons got done in on a Golden Point game this year, this week, rather, I think they will go into this game a little too lax, and they will be punished for it. Don't follow my tips though, because I am 18th out of 24th in our tipping comp, so don't worry about me.
It's been a hard one. It's been a hard one to pick. You use your head, and then it goes the other way, and then you think to do something a bit loosey-goosey, and then it's like, why wouldn't you pick the obvious choice?
This is my 50-50 game, put it that way.
Yep.
Yeah.
Very nice. Second game on the Friday, Broncos versus Roosters, and that's got to be Broncos. Even an average Broncos, I think, better than a good Roosters at the moment, unfortunately, for the Roosters. I just think they're struggling a little bit too much. They've pulled a few solid wins together, but I think that's one I didn't touch on. Mark Nwanga-Nituase, I think dropped out early, just before the game for Billy Smith to take his spot this round just been. So I don't know how long he's out for with his, I think he had an ankle or a calf injury, I think. So
I have to suss the ward in a minute.
Yeah, I think again, just another injury to the list for them, and in a side that's already struggling, I just don't see the Broncos. Even if Reynolds isn't there, I just don't see the Broncos.
I'm not even... you could sit Renault and you could sit probably any of the forwards, and I think you'd still win.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're just not in a great deal of form at the moment. The Roosters, unfortunately. Saturday's games, we'll have a look at Sharks versus Seagulls. Look, odds are with the Sharks in this one, but I don't know. I mean, that loss was only very slim. They did play a lot better last week, but I think
they are coming off 2 losses in a row, though.
Yeah, Seagulls are going to be looking for a win or a bit of redemption after last week, but
it's at Sharks home as well.
Yeah, I don't know. It is a tough one to pick. I think I'm probably going to go with Cronulla in this one. They've got to turn it around. They've got to turn it around soon, really, because again, they're just...
I don't know how long Arrow's out for.
I think it's only a couple weeks. Yeah, maybe 3.
I will also check
team
list tomorrow for this one, I think, because this is a very tough game to pick.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to say up Cronulla on this one.
Yep.
But if Arrow is out and, say, Turbo is in, for instance, I'm a little less sus on it.
Yep.
I might go Eagles.
Yep.
So I'll tentatively hold Cronulla for now.
Yep. At Optus Stadium too, worth mentioning, over in Perth.
Perth,
same
actually,
as the next game, which is Rabbitohs versus Cowboys. So they're having their double header. They're where they move their games to a different stadium or location. So this will be the second one for that double header. Cowboys in this one, I think. Rabbitohs still not doing too bad really, but just with their injuries and stuff like that, I think they're going to be a bit up in the air. Lewis Dodd was highly likely going to take that halfback spot of Jamie Humphreys at the moment, or for now at least. So what combination's going to work, I don't know. Don't know what's going to happen, who's going to be where, but I just think it's going to be a little bit too up in the air from the get-go for the Rabbitohs. And Cowboys, I think, just starting to find some sort of form. A few players that were struggling early on, seeming to pull it together. So
look, personally, I'll be having Cowboys no matter what for this game. But I will say, if Rabbitohs win, it's probably off the back of Munro making a fool out of Valea.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's not the case.
Yep.
But
what can you do?
What can you do?
Yep.
I can see Munro coming back and just running the fuck. That's all. And I'm happy for the kid, but I'm scared of it.
Yep.
Quite frankly.
Saturday's next game up in Darwin. Eels versus Raiders. Got to be Raiders. Raiders any day of the week. Raiders at any point.
I just can't back
season.
Eels.
Yeah, at the moment. Even after that win, good to get on the board, but yeah, still not enough, I don't think, unfortunately.
I think the only saving grace for the poor Eels this time, and we know that they can't play for shit in Darwin.
Yeah, they do.
They really suck at playing in Darwin, man.
They do struggle. They do continue to go up there, but they do struggle each year. Yep.
The one thing is that this time they're taking an opponent up there that also struggles in the heat.
Yeah.
So if the Eels pull this one out, don't be shocked, because that's entirely possible.
Yep.
I'll be picking Raiders because I just I just don't have any faith in the Eels, especially not in Darwin. So,
Yep.
Yeah.
Sunday's game, Storm versus Warriors. Storm, got to be the Storm, I think. It's in Melbourne, but regardless, Storm just too good at the moment.
I think you'll be hard-pressed to find a Wars fan that'll pick it.
Yeah, coming off the bye, which is handy for the Warriors, but still, I just don't think, they're going to be...
Can't see it.
Up to the Storm's standard at the moment, unfortunately. And the last game of the round, Knights versus Tigers, that is in Newcastle, but again, could be anyone's. Knights are the favourites, and they are coming off that loss, but Tigers will still be without Luai, mind you. Luai, and they are missing one more person, but... It was very close. They were very close last week. I think I'm going to go Tigers.
I will be going Tigers.
Slight left field, but Tigers, just after what we saw from the Knights,
I just don't, even without Luai, I feel like the Tigers have way more flair. Which is hilarious when we're talking about a team that has Ponga and Fletcher Sharp on it.
Yep. Very unusual.
And best Marju, they've got this stellar team.
Yep.
And I just can't see how they pull it together and beat the Tigers. Which is that statement in itself. If you said that last year, you'd be laughed at.
Yep.
Oh man, how the tides turn.
That's it for round 6 preview. We might move on to your try of the week. I think you got a couple, don't you?
Yeah. So there will be the viewer's choice on this one, whether it's which one of them actually is the try of the week, but it'll be a try of the week as well as an honourable mention. We'll give it that, and it's both from the same game. We'll get the first one out straight away. The first one that happened in the game, Brighton Nickera, Brayley on the outside to Nico, on the inside to Nickera, and then Nickera just does this stellar piece of play where it's a little tiny chip grubber through the legs, and then he does some soccer futsal type stuff and plants it down, and it's probably one of the it's up there for try of the year for sure. It's so nice to see a player, and he's not a half, he's nothing like that, but to have someone so athletic and talented in the middle like that.
Solid control.
Yeah, with such solid control in general, you see that 9 times out of 10 just get booted out. And to do that through 3 players and still come off with a try and a stellar one, perfectly pinpoint everything, man, that's hot. That's good stuff.
Pretty impressive.
Yeah, and then the next one was in that game, obviously, the killer, the dagger to the heart of the Sharks. Was Sebi Chris with that put down there, right on the 79th minute, I think it was. Massive passage of play between, I think it was Hudson to Xavier, kicks cross field to KO Weeks. KO Weeks on the inside to, I think it was to KO Weeks, and then he throws one back inside to Simi Sasangi, and he gets it out to bloody, who's this big half?
Yeah, literally.
Has he got the wrong jersey on?
Yeah.
straight into Sebi Chris's hands, and pearler of a try.
Yep.
I haven't seen a passage of play like that for a while, since last year for sure. So that was refreshing to watch as well. So, viewer's choice who wants that one to be try of the year, but they're both up there for me. That was awesome.
Both is impressive, definitely, most definitely.
Fantastic.
Having a look at this week's NRL fantasy pickup, we've touched on him a little bit on the last 2 rounds, but definitely one to look at now if you're gonna pick him up. But Katoga, apologies if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but Kitione Katoga, I don't know, or Katonga
Pretty
rather.
Close. Katoga.
368k, so he's starting to get up there now. Break even's only relatively low. I think it might be just jumping into the teens now, but fills out an edge centre spot. And last couple of weeks, so he's started from round 2 with a score of 24, round 3 38, round 4 44, and the round 5 just being a 44. So putting up some very solid scores for someone that you could just have sitting on your emergencies or even have in a centre or edge spot. I think he's going to have a pretty consistent set of minutes throughout the next couple rounds anyway, so we should be getting scores relatively close to, if not the same as that. So we'll still make you a little bit of cash, but probably wanted to pick up sooner rather than later, before that cash cow opportunity drops.
As someone who's not much of not a fantasy player by any means, how is Kurt Mann looking?
Man, we can have a quick squiz at. I don't think he's more on the expensive side in comparison. So
I was going to say he's probably blown out a bit now. I remember when I played, I think maybe not last year, the year prior.
Yep.
He was a pretty easy pickup. He was only paying like 300 to 400 at that point.
Yeah.
But he must be paying a fortune now because he is playing really well with these doggies.
Still putting out solid scores, similar scores to 48, around just being 41, 31 and 34 the week before, but you're looking at 484k and break even will be higher looking at that. So the opportunity to make a bit of money isn't there, but if you're needing a decent mid, someone definitely to look at. Yeah, for sure. He's been, unfortunately there are some players as well that they do well on the field, but it just doesn't translate to fantasy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, there's a few things like that. We've seen that throughout the years with a bunch of people, unfortunately. But yeah, definitely someone you can look at for sure. I think that's probably it for the week. There isn't really too much else to touch on. What I might mention, however, is over at our companion podcast or other podcast, Life at the Outpost, I might do a competition for the upcoming Cowboys versus Panthers home game. I think if we can get enough people interested in it, we'll be giving away 2 tickets to it. But we're gonna see. We'll see what we can do. I'll come up with a post, and it'll be on either, or be on both of our pages. It'll be on the Life at the Outpost page. So. Tune in and have a look at that podcast for details. It'll be in this week's episode, and we'll keep everyone updated in that and announce it probably a week or 2 before. If we get enough people in, we'll announce the winner then. So I think that's probably it for this week, though. Anything else more from your side of things?
Yeah, I think we covered most of it. Yeah.
Yep. So thanks for tuning in again, and we'll see you come round 7. I think that's Easter weekend. We'll see what we got in store.